You know, the thing about all of this is that it's just like so much easier to like not be a public nuisance.
Hi, I'm Abby, and this is the Ebb Show.
Hi, I'm Abby, and welcome back to my YouTube channel, 1 Minute Off. And welcome back to another video on what's currently happening on the internet that is more likely than not popular because it's making people angry. A few days ago, at the Wicked for Good premiere in Singapore, Ariana Grande, Cynthia Erivo, and a few other famous figures were walking down the yellow carpet when this happened. Yes, that's right. Some bozo decided it would be totally okay to just storm over the barricade and grab Ariana Grande, and who must weigh about as much as I do, in order to, I don't know, get like 2 seconds of fame before Cynthia almost slapped the crap out of him and he was rushed out by security. A lot of people online have been obviously quick to defend Grande, praise for her speed, which was, you know, honestly a precious seconds faster than any of the security guards acted, and obviously to criticize the guy who did this. Apparently his name is Johnson Wen, an Australian barnacle who I would probably label as an attempted influencer, if you will. His own Instagram bio touts that he's a 2023 World Cup final pitch invader and a troll most hated, and the wording of that makes me incredibly uncomfortable for some reason. And after this incident, he's also added Ariana Grande is the queen, which infuriates me further, as well as a GoFundMe for all of his bills, which we will get into. He's been doing this so long that there are several posts in the subreddit r/Brisbane detailing people's encounters with him, including him harassing young women at their place of employment, jumping out in front of cars on purpose, and just causing general disturbances at the local mall. He's well known, but in like the worst possible way. If you scroll through this guy's Instagram, you might not be shocked to discover that Ariana was not his first brush with the celebrity rush. This guy is quite proud of his earlier achievements, which include rushing the stage at a Katy Perry concert, rushing the stage at a Weekend concert, and rushing a stage at a Chainsmokers concert. All three of which seem to be like super psyched that he's there. And on top of that, he seems to make a habit out of like rushing out on the field during several like mega sports events. So unfortunately, it seems like this guy has made a career out of this, and I'm using that word kind of lightly, because even since this whole debacle, he's only really still got about 13K on Instagram, which is pretty hilarious. I mean, the number is going up, which it shouldn't be at all, but it turns out this is actually just super annoying to the majority of the population. You'd think that, for such stunts, he'd have like 50K or something, and maybe a sponsor at this point, but nope. I hope I don't have to go into a whole rant about how this guy sucks. I think anybody with a head on their shoulders knows that, even those who are, hopefully ironically donating to his GoFundMe. Hopefully it's a pretty universal thing we can all agree on, right? That people in general shouldn't have their space invaded like this. Of course, those of us who can afford to not be squished down to our bones against a bunch of strangers on a subway every day, i.e. Ariana Grande, live worlds apart, right? But I would argue that, just because she's in the public eye naturally as a celebrity doesn't mean she's not entitled to her own personal space, especially at these public events. I'm not even like a huge Ariana Grande fan. I like her. She's fine. She was great and victorious. And she's a good singer. But, I'm also I like to think of myself as like a decent enough human being to, not want her to be attacked by anybody. And you think that wouldn't really be a controversial statement, right? But I've seen a few people online saying that like, oh, this is what celebrities like her sign up for. Like, this is what they get. And it's like, no, no, that's not really it, Chief. God, whenever stuff like this happens and like people defend people like Pajama Man, I sometimes feel like I'm talking to children. This is, and I know a lot of us are getting worse and worse at this by the day, it seems, but this is one of those situations where you have to put yourself in somebody else's shoes, right? Like in this case, Ariana Grande's glitter pumps. Just stop your thumbs for one moment and just think about what you want to achieve most in your life. And then think about achieving that. And then going to an entire event to celebrate that achievement, and then something like this happens to you. You wouldn't like that, right? People like this, these like self-described stage invaders and the like, ruin stuff for everyone else, plain and simple. And for what? it. And for what? To watch numbers go up on the internet? To get their 15 seconds of fame in like the most embarrassing way possible? The good news here is that according to the BBC, it does seem that Pajama Man, I don't even want to use his real name, did get arrested for pulling this stunt after he was dragged out of the event by security. On November 14th, he was charged with public nuisance in a Singaporean court, and according to CBS, said he would plead guilty to the charges against him. And while he did post on Instagram that, seemed to imply that he was free, lo and behold, on Monday, November 17th, he was sentenced to jail for 9 days, which is not enough, in my opinion. I haven't been able to figure out if he's been fined as well, but I hope so. Apparently, the judge was pretty ruthless, too. I mean, as he should be, telling this guy, it does not appear that you would face any sort of consequences for your past acts, and perhaps you thought that the same would occur here. That is to say, you would have suffered no consequences for the same acts here. Mr. Wen, you are wrong. You should be mindful that there are always consequences for one's actions. It was fortunate that something bad did not occur. You seem to be attention-seeking, thinking only of yourself and not for the safety of others when committing these acts. The judge also did mention that he hoped Pajama Man's jail time would end his behavior for good, which no one can really tell if that's a wicked pun or not. But regardless, again, if you ask me, 9 days in jail is not enough at all. 9 days, that's the name of a 90s band with like one good song. That's not enough jail time for someone who does shit like this. And another news source did report that this boy is unemployed, so no surprise there. But he's also apparently accumulated over $20,000 in fines. And according to his GoFundMe, it's like $35K due to these incidents. And yes, like I said earlier, he has started a GoFundMe for those cringy enough to donate, which so far is not many. I am glad he decided to pull this in Singapore, though. I mean, this is a country where they kill you for having drugs, but they also still let him off pretty easy, I think. At the very, very least, I do hope that this and, how internationally viral it went translates into him actually getting banned from any event like this in the future. And yeah, I've also seen some conversation around whether this man is just like delusional, whether he has, mental problems, and, whether or not we should actually give him a little bit of the benefit of the doubt as to why he does this. I don't know if nothing's black and white, right? But I think my opinion on all of that is, once you cross the boundary of like physical touch or assault, it doesn't really matter. Your mental health is still your responsibility no matter what you're going through. And at the end of the day, if you end up assaulting someone, attacking someone like this, then yes, that does cross a line. But I mean, repeated offenses like this just can't really be excused by mental health alone. And the big, elephant in the room here, this part is actually bolded in my script, is especially and unfortunately when a camera and social media is involved. You have to remember the clout of it all, right? And the lengths like people will go to achieve that. I mean, I've made videos on that before. It's hard to know what's rage bait and what's not nowadays, but most of it is, which is, sad in and of itself to think about, really, if you think about it too much. Which we're not going to. Let's move on. No, I mean, if I can be frank, I am relatively sure it's just like another classic case of clout chasing. As Marissa Bode, who plays Nessa Rose Throp in Wicked, said, "This is what I mean when I say social media brings out the worst in people. Oh, did you get your views? Did you get your likes? Guess what you also did? You made somebody feel incredibly unsafe. Just no remorse. That goes over your head. You're a bad person." This whole thing is like kind of a perfect example of what the internet is doing to us, Yet another one of those things wherein this guy thinks any sort of attention he gets is good because he went viral. Because he's getting attention, and, even though he got in trouble this time, he's probably going to do it again, even though nobody really wants to see this. Side note, if you actually do enjoy this sort of content, does it not get old pretty quickly, love? That same annoying gimmick over and over and over again? I mean, to each their own, but I do recommend finding a good book to read or something. Though Pajama Man has never really stated why he does this, he's made it pretty clear that he thinks it's totally fine, despite, the fines and the jail time he's getting, and not to mention, the backlash. And it just sucks, right, to know that there are people out there who will sacrifice the comfort of their fellow man without blinking an eye if it means they'll get a viral video out of it. Wow, that's really gotta change, huh? This is like the last point I'll make, and not for nothing, but the judge is right. It was fortunate that something bad did not occur. This guy didn't have a weapon, but what if he did? It could have been a very different story. Need I remind anyone of Christina Grimmie, the singer-songwriter and internet personality who was shot and killed in plain daylight at a meet and greet by her stalker back in 2016. I know it's an extreme example and I'm not gonna go into that story in this video, but I'm only saying it because these things do happen and they can always happen again. TLDR, rushing a celebrity at a public event, invading their personal space is dumbass behavior that should be judged and punished. End of sentence. Yeah, if they really want to get back at this guy in a way that will actually matter to him, they should ban him from Instagram, ban him from social media, ban him from any future celebrity events, and hey, I mean, throw him in the ring with Cynthia for a few rounds while they're at it. What do you think? Do you think this guy should have gotten more jail time or heftier fines or less, and why? Is social media causing way too many parasocial relationships to the point where people can just feel like they can do whatever the hell they want to? Let me know down below what you think. I want to hear each and every opinion. I'm Abby. This is 1 Minute Off, and I'm going to go watch a movie at a public theater without assaulting anyone from my Instagram account. Bye.